Hi, my name is Jeff Smith with Apollo Backflow. Today we're going to talk about Backflow, what it is, what we offer, and the features and benefits of the Apollo line. When you talk about backflow, what backflow is defined as is keeping chemicals or non-potable hazardous materials from getting into the potable water system. So what happens in a water system is that if there's a negative pressure that goes back from the main, there's actually an issue of back siphonage that comes from the building that's there. In Hope Mills, North Carolina, there was an issue where pesticides, the gentleman at Terminex put his hose in the tank and went in to grab a cup of coffee. City main busted. Pesticides went back into the main system, the water drinking system for the city of Hope Mills, which caused a big problem. So this is why we have backflow. In Apollo, we pride ourselves that we are a domestic forged brass. It's forged in Pageland, South Carolina. So we are a domestic company, and we offer a 5-year warranty compared to our competitors who are typically 1, possibly 2 years at the max. With that, we've also come with the ease of maintenance. And where we've come with the ease of maintenance, the two types of backflows we're going to talk about today are testable and non-testable. Testable are those devices that typically you don't have to have tested on a regular basis. It does not go into a high chemical or a high hazard type application. So on the testable side, you have three models: a PVB, which typically is a bell-shaped item, which is usually in the irrigation industry, as well as the RPZ or RPP, you may be heard of as, which is reduced pressure zone, as well as a double check. The double check basically is what we have here. Is if I cover up this relief port at the bottom, it's 2 checks in place that actually will lift up as the water comes through, and whenever there's a back siphonage at the water main or on the inlet side, these two checks will shut, causing the safety of the main drinking system, but not so much on the building. So what they figured is we need to protect the building and the occupants in the building as well as the main system, so they come up with the RPZ. And with the RPZ, we add this relief port on the bottom. So whenever that same situation happens, the water will come back, and actually now we will dump it down the drain. So some of the items that we have that we pride ourselves in also is we have what we call the captured check. So if you open up this port here, one thing we also with the captured check is our competitors, typically their spring is captured only by this particular cap. So when you take that off, springs tend to fly. With ours, we have what we call the captured check on the inside, that when you spin that off and you just wiggle it just a little bit, it will come out to where you have the captured body with the spring. On the double check, the same repair kit is needed for both checks, so you can only have to carry one type of repair kit. On the RPZ, the difference is going to be the spring on the first one is a little thinner than the spring on the second one. It needs a little bit more tension. In an RPZ, you also need a relief valve kit, which we'll go over in a second. But once you get this captured spring out, you can actually take this, so you can see the spring. The only items that are repairable, it's kind of like on your car. When you buy a car, your brakes are typically the things that's wearable that isn't under the warranty situation. On this, on a repair kit, you have an O-ring right here. You have the red rubber right here that actually, in a situation where you're out in a residence or a business, you can actually flip this over and get one extra use out of it before having to get another repair kit to put in place. But if you do need to repair that for any reason, whether there's a groove or there's something wore into that, you can actually just flip that over and go from there, and it goes back in place. Typically, you don't need the entire kit. If you need the entire kit, it's probably somebody has put a screwdriver or something down in there and caused an issue with the actual cartridge itself that would need that repair kit. So for ease of maintenance, we kind of win the day, as well as because you only need rubbers with ours typically, it's less cost and less maintenance overall. The other part that you would need would be what happens when the water comes in here is it pushes this relief valve shut. So you have a relief valve kit that's the same way as you can see this captured spring right here, and it does the same way. There's a little red rubber right in there that you would replace that, as well as the spring and the rubber parts. Whenever doing maintenance, what we do is we have a card that we pass out that's got the 3 troubleshooting guides for every RP, that we want to make sure that you go through these. These 3 items will actually cover 98% of any problems with any RPZ. And if you want, you can also take this QR code and scan it with your phone, and that will actually show the customer a video of how those three items go through to troubleshoot the item. The only other item we've got is that we add to ours is that you can add as an add-on is we have a frost-proof valve, which in the north is a very important item. Actually in Texas here would have been a nice important item. But this screws into the test cock. You have a test cock on top so you don't lose your test cock, but there's a wax filament on the inside that as it freezes, this thing will expand and drip out the bottom. So you would have to replace this valve instead of this valve. Much difference in cost. I'm Jeff Smith with Apollo Valves.